Hello and welcome to Better Than Me. This is our 10th episode, and therefore we are doing it as an all Batman show. I am James Armstrong. Here joining me today is
James Waddington.
And not doing the voice, Sean Sharp. Of course, as you can tell, we're outside our usual digs. We're just going to do, once again, a wonderful shout out to Dragon Slayer. They are very kind, and we're sitting there in their dungeon.
It's got a dragon in it.
I'm not making any game reference at this point. So,
I'd like it better if it was a cave.
Dark cave. Black's the only color. Sorry.
Yes. But really, thank you for Dragon's Lair allowing us to host here today. This is a great remote show, our first one. Hope to do more in the future.
Absolutely.
And also, they do have the Justice League mystery mini pops available, of which I bought two.
It's got Batman.
I got one. The first one that I bought was Batman.
it was Batman.
Of course, I got Aquaman. Aquaman's cool, but only because he's standing next to Batman.
In the shadow of Batman.
And I had to make sure,
I can't always slap like Batman.
and I had to make
It's
sure.
gonna be hard.
I'm so happy we're doing this show in the Batman voices. It's gonna make everything better.
I'm actually happy that we're out of our usual digs. I mean, this is a fantastic location, and lets us do a little bit more with things.
Oh yeah.
And I had to ask the cashier to cut me off after two because these are quite habit forming.
I was actually
These mystery
watching him.
minis.
Yeah, I was actually watching him across the shop going,
Buy more.
man,
More blind boxes. It's gotta be Batman.
I gotta catch them all.
you better
Not
find Batman.
Pokemon.
You better find Batman.
But there's Batman, and there's also tactical suit Batman. I'm coming for that one.
Come at me, bro.
I am your kryptonite.
I was about to say, wow, I just had an image of frat boy Batman.
Well, I think we should get started in the first story. But what says you?
I agree. But not because you said so. Just because I'm Batman.
I think I play more of an Alfred role in this. Go ahead.
Can you read like Batman?
I'm gonna totally read like Batman in my natural voice. I've been looking forward to this show all week, as you can tell.
I've been practicing my Batman voice all week too. I'm a little happy.
Anyway, moving on to our first topic, I'm asking all of you to play God with the DC EU, the DC Extended Universe.
I'm Batman. It's easy to do.
There you go. And the question is, if you had the power to shape the future of the DC Extended Universe, how would you proceed? Who gets a sequel first? Any dramatic recasting or reboot? Is there a cherished storyline or character you would like to see adapted? Map out your top 3 to 5 priorities, James, and or not Batman.
That's Batman.
As
Not
Batman.
Where do you go first?
I would nix the Suicide Squad. They're gone. They don't exist in the DC EU just yet. I would therefore open up with a Batman movie. Not a trilogy, but a Batman movie that fades to black. I would then put in Man of Steel. That's how that works. Batman first. I'm done with this voice. I can't do it.
Oh, come
I'll pick it up later. I have to think about this, what I'm saying before I say it. But keeping in that same vein, I would have Batman, Superman, and then I would have BBS. No, I'm sorry. I have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, then BBS as a sort of, because you want to have individual characters, in my opinion, first before you have the big ensemble. I like what Marvel did with theirs. But yeah, Suicide Squad would be way out, way down the road. I wouldn't ever do that. But that's for my first couple of things. How about you, Sean?
Me, I actually pondered it. And I'm once again one of the few people that uses that word. I'd actually go completely left field. There are a lot of things that DCU Extended Universe has that they've never really touched on. I like the fact that they are rebooting the characters, and yes, I think Aquaman needs his own standalone. Like I like the Marvel way of doing it, but I would actually go into the archives and bring up the New Gods. This is the time period where we have the technology to do it, and it was so groundbreaking as sci-fi storylines that I think would really be a good thing to bring into the cinematic universe. That's where I would go.
I agree.
I would also have Green Lantern, not Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
a new one, which I hear they're working on because they took Batman's advice.
But I do like James's suggestion that we have Batman and a Superman movie, and I would prefer it if somehow those could come out the same year, because I think it was great how we had a Batman versus Superman movie. I think it would be great if they shared an entire year, and we more or less
Batman won that fight.
totally.
Of course he is. Batman.
But it'd be great if we had a year where it was Batman and Superman more or less teaming up, where we had two movies where it was them. Well, they'll be promoting their own movies, but promoting the concept of it's not a Batman versus Superman era. It is now a Batman and Superman era.
I agree. But Batman stays on top. I'd also recast Lex Luthor.
Oh.
I know it's a hot topic, but no, we need a stronger Lex Luthor. Batman can totally squish this guy.
Well, he'd rather do the great in person. On that note, anyone you had in mind to recast as Lex Luthor?
No.
No, I don't. At top of my
Batman
head,
would always have a plan.
yeah. No, off the top of my head, though, I would probably have to say someone who's much more of an imposing figure instead of much like. I know he's too old to play him, but not Patrick. Patrick Stewart would actually make a very good Lex Luthor, but he's too associated with good positive roles. Ian McKellen would make a good one as well, in my opinion. He's very strong. He has a very big presence. He could command. If you want to go a different route, you can go with Morgan Freeman because he's got the big voice. Someone who could command, like someone who could run $1 billion company, but at the same time be like fit. Maybe like a not as masculine Jason Momoa or Momoa. Jason Momoa. Yeah. So something like that would make it very good, in my opinion. Lex Luthor, who could just ooze like sliminess or ooze like power. You know what I mean?
You don't think Jesse Eisenberg is slimy?
No.
There's also the fact that he was playing, he is Lex Luthor, but in the way they were hinting that, he's Lex Luthor Jr.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. I would go with Ray Fiennes
That would work.
because he's a very chameleon actor. And one of the things about sociopaths like Lex Luthor is that
Fassbender could do it.
Fassbender could do it. Of course, it's Fassbender.
That's
Do anything.
The guy that I can't never pronounce his
And he
name.
can do it in multiple languages.
It's true. That's true too. The guy that plays Jamie Lannister,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think would make a really good turn at it. Just because sociopaths have that ability to turn on the charm, turn off the charm
Right.
in a heartbeat. And I think that's something Ray Fiennes really could do. I mean, in the movie Red Dragon,
That's very true.
he did that very well. And he's not a physically imposing guy, and yet he carried a sense of menace.
You know who could have done it really well, but he's not here anymore? Alan Rickman. He could have done a really good
I don't think they could get past the fact that it's Rickman, They know he's the villain
But that's
because he's the villain.
but that would be so perfect in my opinion. Who better to play the one of the ultimate enemies to Batman than Alan Rickman, Lex Luthor, because he could be slimy, but he could be really cruel, but he could be really like business oriented. The dude was one of the best actors that we've had ever seen on the screen or on the stage. He's fantastic, and he would make, in my opinion, make a great Lex Luthor.
Well, I'd more or less defend Jesse Eisenberg, and I think that one wild card we have going into Justice League is he is in this movie as well. So we're going to see more of his Lex Luthor. Maybe there will be a plot line where they can redeem the character, because let's not forget he did get a Razzie Award for his performance, so it is more or less tainted at the moment.
That's how bad it is.
I do like
Razzie.
Tales of Redemption.
Batman doesn't get Razzies.
I just have this image that I keep trying to slip
Oh,
into
why
the voice there. He shows up in the Justice League movie, like after working out in the yard. He's like a lot buffer. You don't understand. Prison's changed me. But then I think of Zoolander too, where he just rips the bodysuit off.
That makes Batman blush in black.
But
Well,
yeah, it has a chance to have a huge turnaround.
I think so. Moving on to my list, just quickly, I have 3 items that I wanted to cover. First and foremost, keep Batfleck. In some way, shape, or form, I don't think that Ben Affleck wanted to do a Batman movie where he was behind the camera. I think he more or less got coerced or talked into being the director. I think that if we get Ben Affleck in a place where he just acts as Batman, he can do the character for many, many years to come. And the wild card.
He is old man Batman.
Exactly.
Older man Batman.
And I think we can use that to our advantage
For
because
Batman.
I'm trying to keep it PG. I was about to say something very Frank Miller related. If you're a hardcore fan, I hope you know what I mean.
This is not a kid show. This is Batman show.
Oh, so I can just cuss all I want to?
Yes, you can.
So I can refer to him as the goddamn Batman.
Yes, you can.
Hell yeah. But I do think that it all depends on Matt Reeves. And I hope that he has all the control over his new Batman movie that he deserves. And if he wants to do it with a younger Batman, by all means, bring in a younger Batman and do it as a prequel story with a different actor. I would hope that they still would keep Ben Affleck for the Justice League movies, where he can be Batman in our present timeline. And then we can have, he will always be Batman, and then we can have it as the best of both worlds.
Agreed.
I agree on that.
I think that's
Because I
a
said
really
it.
great way to, I thought with Affleck being the older Batman with the younger Justice League members, it also helps justify why he always plans ahead and has, because he's already experienced tons of things for all these new heroes coming into it. Maybe not Sidekicks, maybe not Wonder Woman, but all the newer heroes that are coming into it. He's already had this tons of experience, and they're going to look at his methods, and he has that plan. I thought he did a great role of being the jaded Batman. That's how I saw him, as a older, jaded Batman.
What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a perfect answer. Shuts everybody up. Yeah, done.
Yeah, it's good. No, that's the line in the story of Batman. He always has a plan, and everything always fades to black.
If you ever see his credit card, it expires forever.
It's kind of like the black platinum.
Well, that was a weird segue.
Yeah. Well, I still have 2 more points, so we're still talking about me. And
Your favorite subject. Right?
my favorite subject is Batman. But Sean, you had a great point, which is I think that the new gods do need to have more of an influence on the upcoming films, and I would hope that segueing into this point, that DC, looking ahead, does maintain the talent that they have. It kills me that they always have directors and maybe possibly actors dropping out of big-time projects, and so please keep Zack Snyder in some capacity. There was a report that his role would be minimized looking ahead, but I think it was on one of the Collider shows, James, where they talked about Zack Snyder would be great at doing a movie based on the new gods.
Well, let's make sure his family's okay before we bring him back on the set.
Absolutely. When he's good and ready.
Yeah.
Just don't sever that connection altogether. So maintain those talent. Bring back David Ayer. Let him do Gotham City Sirens. And yeah, forget about Suicide Squad too.
Yeah.
What is the point?
Yeah.
Deadshot Steppenwolf is better than Suicide Squad. Unless it has Harley Quinn.
And my final point, which I'll be quick about, is that I hope that at some point they do a Tower of Babel storyline. One of the better comics I've ever read, and it would be a story where it's not just an alien invasion and Justice League has to stop it. It's Ra's al Ghul using Batman's contingency plans against the Justice League against them. And this Justice League movie is predicated on Batman being the one to assemble a team.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be poetic justice.
That's right. Batman runs everything.
Everything. And it'll be poetic justice and a good completion of that story if Batman also, in a way, disassembled the team the whole time.
I know that in the show Justice League, the animated show that stars the Batman, that did happen. That I had a contingency plan to take out the superheroes just in case.
It's something that has also been explored in other media formats. So it'd be really good to see it on the big screen.
Exactly.
And some of the games that are out there. It's something that's very, very interesting. It's been in the animated series. It's been in the comic books.
Oh yeah.
Everybody loves Batman for his contingency plans, well, Vikings. Unlike us in this world, he's always prepared. He always, including shark spray.
Shark repellent.
Shark repellent.
Don't even know without it.
Never.
And it was also supposedly the plot line of the Justice League Mortal movie that George Miller was going to do. Maybe you could bring him back and bring in some new talent and have him do the Justice League movie he never got to make. But Moving on now to possibly more important things, maybe the most important thing, which is how would you all rank the Batman? Who is the best of the Batman? Lewis Wilson and Robert Lowery first played the character in the cheap 1940s movie serials. Adam West gave us Batmania. Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney shared the first major motion picture franchise. And Christian Bale had his own trilogy. Today, we have Batfleck. Who is the most badass of all top 3 Batman? James, let's start with that.
As far as Batman goes, I divided these into categories: best Batman, best Bruce Wayne, best of both.
I love it.
Nice.
So, best Batman, Keaton. Best Batman. Gave the best performance as Batman. When he was in the suit, although he couldn't move his head, he couldn't move his whole body. Early bad suit days, bad problems, you wouldn't understand. However, gave a great performance with limited mobility and still kicked ass. Best Bruce Wayne. I'm gonna get some help for this, but it's, in my opinion, it's a tie between Bale and Clooney. Clooney was a playboy. He had the looks, he had the charm. Bale also had the same thing. But, in my opinion, he had the models and the ballerinas backing him up. Very Bruce Wayne.
Also, Clooney was more of a philanthropist, which is a very essential part of Bruce Wayne.
Very true. Best of both. I think I gave it to Bale. To me, he had the best of both worlds. He had the good raspy voice that Batman's supposed to have, because it's dark. He had the best suits, the best equipment, and ballerinas, and had one of the best ever villains in Batman, the Joker, that he never actually beat. I'm after you, Joker. I'm after you.
John, what say you?
Well, it's hard to follow that, but I've actually seen the 1940 serials, and so I like where James over here split them into Bruce Wayne and Batman. I look at it as the actor was hired to do the whole role, so I'm not going to split them up. For me, honestly, if I'm doing the top 3, number 1, I'm going to give an honorarium to Mr. West, just because he was always there. He was a great guy. But it'd have to be Keaton, because we're speaking in gruff, raspy voices a la Bale, but it's Keaton that started the tagline, "I'm Batman."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm Batman, and we've expanded it.
He didn't even need a credit card.
The Batman tagline.
That was the
I'm
best,
Batman.
the best ad-libbed line ever.
Right, and it's sorry, the early films with Keaton were kind of campy, and the purpose is so with Burton's kind of aspect to it. But Keaton would be number 1. I can't even stand Kilmer or Clooney's Batman, to be honest with you. So in a separate category, I kind of keep Christian Bale because I thought as a trilogy arc, he was best. But I can't really even comment on like Batfleck because I don't think he was fully utilized. I did like him as older, grumpy, get off my lawn Batman, as I stated earlier. So it's kind of a weird thing for me. It's going to be like, Keaton and Adam West, with the third maybe just being up in the air for hopes and potential.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. I'm starting with Christian Bale, which was a very hard decision. My second and third choices were very close, and Christian Bale gave it his all, as he does all of his roles in the Christopher Nolan trilogy. And I like the way they built him as a more international Batman. He was never the Dark Knight detective, but he was this man looking for a cause, and he found it at first with the League of Shadows until he realized that they were too hardcore for him. But he still maintained his training. That fight scene at the end of The Dark Knight, where he's taking on a SWAT team and the Joker's goons, is beautiful. And he had a clear mission, and he fulfilled it, and he got a happy ending. So his story arc was magnificent. My second choice would be Batfleck.
Yeah.
Because that character, I thought, was fleshed out in a way where he hadn't been on the big screen already. He was a veteran, established Batman, as Sean said. He was prepared. And I like the story arc where it's always the grizzled guy looking for a cause worth fighting for once again. And that always brings me back to Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. He spends 80% of that movie being a real jerk. And at the end, he rallies to a cause. I thought the same, not that I'm comparing both of those films, but I do think that Ben Affleck had that same type arc in Batman v Superman, where he does spend most of the movie preparing to murder Superman. A very unhero-like thing to do.
He
But
was destroying the city.
yeah, Superman did have the very bad first impression, but he still rallied at the end, and I love the scene where the Trinity are fighting against Doomsday. That was my favorite fight of the movie, and so
I blame poor CGI for that.
topic for another time.
Agreed.
But my number one choice, and this was still my number one choice several months ago, and it is the Batman who I have the most emotional attachment to, and it is Mr. Adam West.
We mentioned this a few weeks ago, or yeah, shows ago.
Exactly. But Adam West, I mean, man of strong moral fiber, and someone who
He played Batman well.
played that well. I don't know why you were questioning that, but
Okay.
More
but he was a detective. He was a man who encouraged you to read up on your languages, on your geography, and to stay in school and study and wear your seatbelt in the car. And I think he put it best in
He didn't even need a credit card.
exactly. He didn't need a credit card,
Did
but I think he put it best where he said that when I walked into a room, I didn't need to say I'm Batman. I just walked into a room and people knew who I was.
He was Batman.
He was Batman.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would like to throw an honorable mention to the voice actors who gave us your voice that we're hearing now. Although I'm blatantly taking Christian Bale's voice, and that's totally fine. It's one of the better ones. But I'd also like to throw out, of course, we got Kevin Conley. This one you're doing, and
For the record, yes, I am going for more of a Kevin Conroy voice, and I've never quite heard it recorded before, so I'm curious to see how I sound.
but I'd also like to give a shout out to Will Arnett for the Lego Batman. One of the best Batman films ever. Best DC film ever. Superman, come at me, bro.
DC, the house that Batman built.
Damn straight. But yeah, no, I can't disagree with anyone's list. They're all fantastic. It's all opinion based. We're all right. We're not wrong. Because this is Batman.
This is Batman. Batman is never wrong.
There is a third part to this, I do believe. Oh no, that's level 3. Never mind. I'm running ahead.
Well, thank you for the early segue. And now, Kevin Smith has famously posed this question before on his Batman on Batman podcast.
Very
It
good
is
podcast.
very good. Plenty of episodes still on YouTube that I haven't gotten to yet, and the show has revived, and thank God he brought in Mark Bernardin as a co-host
Really good.
to lend some extra intelligence to that show. But if you could assemble a Mount Rushmore of Batman, this is wide open to anyone who you think has influenced the character. You gotta pick 4 people. Who would go on that?
I had a question regarding this. Is it just people who played Batman or people who influenced
Anybody behind the camera, writers, directors, actors, anybody. Totally wide open. If you need some time, I can move to Sean.
Batman? No.
You good?
I was making sure that's what you wanted. Mine are going to be all Batman, because why not? And no rule order. Adam West, Keaton, Conroy, and for what not to do, Joel Schumacher. We need to be a constant reminder: Batman does not eat nipples on his beds. Sean, your list.
Well, the originator, the original artist and writer, Mr. Keene. Of course, I always will tip to the original writer and author. But I'd also say the influence of Superman, the writer of Superman, because it created an environment
That has its purposes.
where it created an environment for comic sales to allow other things to grow. I mean, originally, Batman being part of Detective Comics.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
and so those are kind of like the reason why it's rather ironic and not ironic. They have to play off against each other because they're from the same era, but one success helped build into the other. With Batman being kind of this iconic thing that is kind of gone into its own life, it allows us, and we'll explain my third choice of course, Frank Miller, because Frank Miller wanted to bring Batman back to its original concept, which is it allowed us to explore the darker aspects of the self.
I think Frank actually has a quote where he said, "My mission was to give Batman his balls back."
True. Now, he was doing it with a lot of gore, but it's the fact that in the original, really, really original permutations of Batman, it was a guy that had a psychological disorder that could only be himself when he wore his mask. And that was kind of like,
What happens when you see your parents murdered in front of you?
it allowed us to, once again, the neat thing about graphic art and storytelling is it allows us to quickly recognize the imagery to explore those darker aspects of ourselves and walk away without scars. Kind of the way I do it. So the original writer, Mr. Spiegelman for Superman, and of course Frank Miller, and honestly, the biggest, I gave an honorarium to Mr. West, but I would have to actually say the final person on the thing would be Keaton, because it was a big risk to step into that role. And, he was taking a risk of this could destroy my career. He was a comedy guy, taking on a role that he
Did a
was,
fine job.
who he probably didn't have a concept of how iconic it would be after the first movie. And it's been iconic, and it's influenced all those that have come after it, even including the nipples on the suit.
Didn't like it.
But just the issue of this is what an armored bat suit would look like. This is what you would expect, this bizarre, strange person.
That was the first time the suit was black.
Right, all black. Yeah. Not just this gray blue.
Black's the best color.
So that would be me. And,
Always better black.
and I'm sure you have a very deep list as well.
I have been thinking about this list for several months now. It's a very, very tough call to make for a Batman fan, and I have so many honorable mentions from Bob Kane, Bill Finger, Christopher Nolan, and the comic duos of Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, and Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil. But being more of a movie-type Bat fan, I don't think I've earned the mantle of comic book fan yet, although I try. And so, in no particular order, I would start, and I'm glad that we have some overlap on our lists. That makes me happy. I would start with Kevin Conroy. He is the voice of Batman. He's been doing the
20
voice since 1992, if I'm not mistaken.
I have to give props to Conroy real fast. If you haven't seen Conroy narrate Star Wars as Batman, you've got to.
Wait, did he actually do that?
Yes.
When?
At Emerald City Comic Con a couple years ago.
I'm gonna write that
Did you miss
down.
that? Just look it up on
I
YouTube.
want to know if I missed that.
So not only does he narrates only the opening crawl as Batman and do the scenes, but other voice actors were given the opportunities to voice other characters from Star Wars.
That's badass.
Very.
Thank you for telling me about that.
Send the image of Batman.
Only Batman narrates. He doesn't take over because Batman is Batman.
There's also a really cool YouTube video where someone cut in the footage from Batman '89 and Star Wars. It's called Batman versus the Death Star. Spoiler alert: Batman wins. But Kevin Conroy has played the character for so long and is the voice of Batman. If you read a comic,
It says
you're imagining his voice as Batman. You can't live without Kevin Conroy's Batman voice.
What do you think Bale got his voice from?
Well, he always said that his voice was his own because, in his own words, you can't put on the Batman suit and not become a beast. So I've always given him a little bit of slack for that justification. Plus, it's very little known, but I believe Christopher Nolan altered the voice in post-production for both Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. You watch Batman Begins, it's not as gruff, and therefore it's a little more tolerable.
Maybe he has voice changers in his suit.
There might have been a voice, like a voice modulator written into the Batman Begins script, but I never researched it. I don't know if that was part of the concept.
It's Batman.
Exactly. He's at the end of the day.
Sir, who's on your mountain?
Okay. Where is it? Where's my list? Starting with Kevin Conroy. Number 3, I'd like to give a shout out to Michael Uslan, who got the ball rolling on Batman on the big screen. He was a college professor in Indiana in the 1970s and got the film rights to Batman. He is listed as executive producer along with Benjamin Melniker, pretty much all the Batman movies. And Batman would not be on film today if it weren't for the long hours put in by Michael Uslan, like a almost 10-year journey from securing the rights having Batman '89 appear on film. Shout out to Michael Eason. Third, borrowing from Sean again, will be Frank Miller. He brought the character back in a big way in 1986 when he did Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
And we will forever be in his debt for that seminal story. And so many names to go around, but I also wanted to give a shout out to someone who I don't think gets enough credit. With Batman '89, people talk about Tim Burton, who did a great job as the director of that movie. They talk about Michael Keaton, who did a great job as Batman, and certainly quieted all the haters who doubted his casting in the first place. But I want to give a shout out to a man named Anton Furst, who was the production designer on Batman '89. He designed that Batmobile. He designed that Gotham City.
That's a classic Batmobile.
Classic Batmobile.
It still sits in the Batcave today.
Yeah.
Just a reminder of where I was. Sorry. But a reflection of past Batman. Much like the Phantom.
But I love
Past town.
Good call. In fact, I was thinking earlier, going back to the Phantom, that before Eisenberg came around, if I had to cast like Luthor, I would have cast Billy Zane.
Oh,
Nice choice.
He's a cool dude.
yeah. There's a haircut for it too now.
Exactly. But Anton Furst, a man who unfortunately was taken from us too soon, but did earn an Oscar, I believe, for his production design on Batman '89, and created a Gotham City that to me stands the test of time. I love the opening shot of Batman '89, where you have Gotham City, which is this sprawling metropolis just coming out of hell, I think is a line from the script.
Yeah.
And Anton Furst did a good job of finally visualizing Gotham City for us in the first major cinematic picture featuring that.
When I was growing up, I always thought Gotham, I know Gotham was based on New York. That was New York City to me. I was like, I don't want to go there. It's not right. Purely based on Batman '89.
Don't want to go there. Don't want to go there, man.
To me, I was like, if that's New York City, forget it. But yeah, go ahead.
All right. No, I think that wraps up my list. And again, so many honorable mentions to go for such a long and tenured character as Batman. But that about wraps things up for us. And thank you, James, for coming up with the idea for this all Batman episode to celebrate Better Than B's 10th episode.
Oh, you're welcome. It's Batman's a pleasure to come up with things. Unfortunately, another show beat us to the concept, but that's okay. Internet's a big place.
Plenty of room for everybody.
Things
Plenty of room for everybody.
All right. And again, thank you to Dragon's Lair for allowing us to film from your location. We always enjoy shopping here. You have an absolutely friendly staff. And I'll be back for more of these mystery minis. They're addictive. Don't listen to Sean. Anyway, thank you for joining us on Better Than B. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And comment, unless you want to say that you didn't like my bad voice, in which case, you can go to hell.
or my bad voice. In which case, I don't care. Now get off my set!
Good night.